Hey my friend, welcome to this video here where I'm going to be sharing with you some very powerful life transforming diet advice that is going to make you feel extremely hydrated. It's going to help you to cleanse your body of old toxins and old disgusting food that you've eaten 5-10 years ago. It's going to help you to feel alive. It's going to help to support all of your efforts that you make towards your self-actualization, and it's going to help you to become the best version of yourself by feeding your body and your cells the key nutrients that it needs to fully actualize, to be its best version. So the advice I'm going to be sharing with you here is the foundation of all self-actualization when you're doing any kind of personal development work, spirituality, or whatever it is. You're just trying to optimize your mental performance. You're trying to just get the most juice out of your life and enjoy your life. Your diet is the foundation. If your diet is not on point, then everything falls apart. The whole pyramid of Maslow's hierarchy, it all crumbles because the food needs at the base are not solved. Now, the problem is that immediately it's very difficult to take diet advice from people online nowadays, because I 100% totally understand that there are thousands of people on the internet, on your YouTube feed, on your Instagram, screaming at you about what foods to eat, what foods not to eat. Some person who's a doctor says meat is good, but then another person who's a doctor who says meat is bad. Some person says never eat fruit, like the keto people will say never eat fruit, or don't eat lots of sugar. Other people will say sugar's not the problem. The real problem is too much eggs. Or some people will say the problem is too much this or that. So I understand it's very confusing and there's a lot of information out there. In this video, I'm going to be doing my best to explain to you why I believe that this is the most powerful diet information on planet Earth. By far, by a gigantic margin. And I understand everyone thinks that, everyone says that as well. I've done lots of experimentation with keto diets, paleo diets, carnivore. I've been vegan. I've really been testing a lot of different foods, introducing certain foods, cutting out other foods. I've been doing this very seriously for the last 8 years because I realized that the way I feel is my number one asset. My health is my number one asset, because then that is what allows me to create amazing art. That's what allows me to do the meditation that I need to do to expand my consciousness and to become the best version of myself. That's what allows me to be productive, to coach people, to make money, to be healthy and feel good about myself, to be confident, to have energy. So this is why I put so much emphasis and focus on studying lots of different diet stuff. And here's the thing, is that what I'm going to be sharing with you here in this video is extremely powerful. It'll change your life, I promise. I've given this information to myself first, of course, and then my clients as well. I've had people comment on my video saying, "Hey Adam, I tried your diet advice. It's freaking amazing." Literally this morning, my little brother said, "Hey Adam, I started drinking lemon water in the morning and my entire life has changed." Speaking of which, I'm a little bit thirsty and my water's all the way over there. So I'm gonna go get it. Give me 1 second. So I've been talking about drinking lemon water, celery juice, and other stuff we're gonna be talking about today. I've been talking about it for years. Recently, my brother finally decided to give it a try, and he told me, "Adam, honestly, I didn't think it was gonna work. I thought I didn't believe it. But I had lemon water this morning and oh my God, it was amazing. I felt my whole body get cleansed and I had to use the bathroom immediately. This is a common trend that when people start this cleanse, this diet, and they start living this lifestyle, immediately they have to go to the bathroom because all the stuff, the old stuff that's built up in your body and your gut gets cleansed out because you become more hydrated and your body has the resources and the fuel it needs to cleanse itself and to keep you healthy. So I'm saying that this advice has worked for other people. It has worked for millions of other people that follow medical medium, which is the main advice that we're going to be talking about today, why I believe this is the most powerful diet information on planet Earth by far, a gigantic margin. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's not about you believing me, and it's also not about me just shoving all of my beliefs into your throat so that you just believe me, okay? I'm going to do my best to just very gently just build an argument about how this information can change your life, how it's already changed the lives of millions of people, especially people who have chronic illnesses, and modern science has been completely failing many millions of people who have chronic illnesses of all kinds, which we're going to talk about, and why this is some very advanced, cutting-edge information that is even ahead of the curve of modern science, and we're going to explain why that is and how that works. And at the end of the day, it's all about your own experience. It's not about believing studies or believing this person or that person or believing me. It's about, I'm going to give you some protocols. I'm going to give you some theory. You understand why you're doing the protocols. And then at the end of the day, it comes down to you taking it into your life, implementing it, trying it out for a good 30 days, seeing the massive shifts that I promise you will happen in your energy, your mood, your gut will start to change. You'll start to have different cravings. You'll stop craving junk food and you'll start craving celery juice and apples and smoothies and fruit and healthy food and vegetables that's good for you. So this advice is not about depriving you of your favorite foods. It's actually about feeding you an abundance of the minerals and healthy sugars and vitamins that your body needs in order to thrive and to become its best version. All right? So how did I come into contact with this information and why do I think it's so powerful? This is important just to start with the context. What is this information? What's it all about? So when I was maybe 17 years old, I was very into self-actualization, personal development. I was reading tons of books about just all kinds of things, psychology, law of attraction, spirituality, science, and diet was one of the things. I mentioned I was trying paleo, vegan, keto, all of this different stuff, and I'm a tester, I'm an experimenter. I like to take new perspectives, learn all there is to know about it. I'm like a sponge, test it, see how it benefits my life, and give it a good chance. If I find it doesn't help, then I kind of scrap it and I move on to something else. So throughout my journey, I ran into this one person whose name is Anthony William. He's known as the medical medium. So over the last maybe 5 or 6 years or 10 years, you may have been hearing a lot more about celery juice recently. Maybe you've seen videos about it, but celery juice has been becoming more popular. This is because of Anthony Williams' work, the medical medium. And this information, for me, had a different quality to it. And it just seemed more comprehensive, more detailed, more systematic, and it just made sense to me. Now, again, I've studied lots of stuff, and a lot of stuff really makes a lot of sense. Like paleo, like, okay, eat like a caveman, don't eat highly processed foods, eat foods your body's evolved to eat. Okay, that makes sense. I like that. So I'm not totally discrediting that kind of idea, but medical medium, the information I'm going to be sharing with you today, you're going to see it just makes sense. And there's something about that quality of the intuition. It just like, it clicks with the information. You're like, oh, yeah, that's how it works. I can tell, I can recognize it intuitively. I don't need a million studies to, try to prove and force this information down my throat. It makes sense. It's intuitive. It's kind of obvious after you hear it. So what I like so much about the medical medium is that he was approaching health from the angle of solving chronic illness. And this is key, because if you really want to evaluate the legitimacy of a certain health philosophy, one great way to measure its validity is to look at how it solves and reverses chronic illnesses which are currently running rampant in today's society, in the West and in Europe, all over the world. Human beings are suffering from a wide variety of different chronic illnesses. And when I say a lot of people, I mean like over 250 million people in the United States alone have symptoms of chronic illnesses, or many of them don't even know that it's a chronic illness. So let me give you some examples. So when I talk about chronic illnesses, I'm talking about things like eczema, which skin rashes, which I've had my whole life since I was 1-2 years old, and it caused me a lot of suffering. Psoriasis, other skin rashes. Vitiligo, which is skin discoloration. A whole host of gastrointestinal gut problems, digestive problems, acid reflux, brain fog, energy problems, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, even ALS, like amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, when your muscles basically they don't work, things like Parkinson's, even dementia, Alzheimer's, even many forms of cancers, most cancers. And then there's all sorts of other chronic illnesses like thyroid problems, hypothyroid or hyperthyroid, or Hashimoto's, or heart palpitations, or you're gaining too much weight, or your joints are inflamed, arthritis, you have back pain. Basically, your body hurts and it doesn't feel good, and there's things that are just not working, and you don't really know why, because when you go to the doctor, in many cases they'll tell you, well, yeah, you have arthritis, okay, maybe you need more calcium, drink more milk, or have more spinach, or here, take this pill, take some calcium pills, take this anti-inflammatory, take this immunosuppressant, take this antibiotic. It's very speculative. So that's a whole host of chronic illnesses that people suffer from, and this is the big light bulb that really turned me on to this information and really made sense when you realize that modern science right now is doing pretty well with medicine when it comes to doing things like surgery. If you have to have like a liver transplant, you have to have something taken out of you, or if you have we have things like vaccines, we have types of penicillin. So modern science, we have x-rays, MRIs, this stuff's amazing. So modern science is okay, it's working in some areas, especially if you have topical issues like on your skin, you have a certain fungus or something like that, you can give you an antifungal cream and you use it and it'll go away very quickly. Our medicine is great in some areas. However, in other areas, especially in this area of chronic illness, where you can sort of tell there's a problem internally and it's manifesting externally, Science is totally failing, utterly. Utter failure in this domain of chronic illness. I've experienced this myself with my eczema. My doctor giving me creams and this kind of stuff to make it go away, but then it would just pop up in another area of my body. So I would have these like pussy scabs and sores and open cuts and stuff all over my hands, and it was so painful. And I put this cream on, and it would kind of sort of go away, but then it would just move somewhere else, and then it would just move somewhere else, and then I would go visit a specialist and say, hey, you know, what is going on here? And you say, well, I don't really know. You have eczema. So this is the thing with chronic illness, is that the doctors will tell you what you have, but they don't really know why you have it. It's very speculative, and you can tell by the way they say it, their energy as they say it. They don't quite know why you're sick. Yeah, there could be many reasons why you have eczema, I don't know, but try this cream, it'll go away. And that's the thing, is it's a very surface level solution. We're treating symptoms, but modern science is in the dark when it comes to many of the causes, the root causes of these wide variety of chronic illnesses that are completely ravaging our population as a species. We have more chronic illness today than we have at any other time in all of human history, in spite of how good our medical system is, we have more chronic illness today than we've ever had. And there's many factors to that. We're going to talk about why that is and how that works. But I just wanted to really paint this picture for you so that you understand that modern science, if you're looking for scientific evidence or scientific proof or studies to show how to heal your chronic illness, to explain to you the cause of it, then you are going to be waiting for a very long time. It could be 30 years, 40 years, 50 years for science to catch up with what Anthony William is talking about, because it's just not working. It's really, really not working. There's tons of people who have it worse than me that have to go to 10 doctors, 20 doctors. They don't tell you what's causing it. Or if they do tell you the cause, it's like kind of a cop-out. It's like, oh, your immune system, it's attacking itself. Okay, why? Why is my immune system attacking itself? Maybe it's a genetic problem. It's your fault. It's your genes. You're broken. You are fundamentally broken. I don't know why. You're just something wrong with you. Your body just doesn't know how to be healthy, apparently. So this is the explanations that are given to hundreds of millions of people, because our modern medicine doesn't understand the root causes that we're going to talk about of these chronic illnesses, let alone understand how to go about healing them and reversing them. All right. So I want to tell you first and foremost, if you're suffering from chronic illness, if you're not suffering from chronic illness and you just want to be healthy, this diet is like amazing. It'll change your life and it'll prevent chronic illness in the future. But if you do have chronic illnesses, even things like allergies, constant mucus, asthma, this kind of stuff, random rashes, chronic depression, chronic anxiety, chronically craving sugar and craving salty food, addiction. A lot of this can be traced down to the roots in your diet, and a lot of mysterious causes in your body, which we're going to talk about and be very specific about, that modern science doesn't understand. All right? So then, now we raises the question, oh Adam, but how is Anthony William, the person that we're talking about today, how is he getting information that is ahead of science? That kind of makes no sense. Isn't science like the only way that we know what's true? How can someone get true information if it's not found in a double-blind study in a lab and it's not approved by academia and by modern medicine? How is that possible? Yeah, so that's a great question, and this is a very deep epistemological thing, but essentially I'll tell you the story. Anthony William, ever since he was very, very young, when he was 4 years old, he would just spontaneously start to understand what was wrong with the people around him. It was just a spontaneous thing. Like his grandmother, for example, when he was 4 years old, had this kind of like spinal problem. She had cancer in her spine, and she said it was in her lungs, then it moved to her spine, and they didn't know what to do. Her grandmother was going to die. His grandmother was going to die. So when he was 4 years old, he got the idea she needs to drink celery juice. Which seems kind of random, like why celery juice? And his parents didn't believe him until he was like very adamant. He would throw fits. You know, he's only 4 years old. It's like, give her celery juice! Give her celery juice! Eventually, the parents decided to take some celery, put it in a blender. This was back in the 1980s before they had juicers. So they took celery, put it in the blender, blended it up, strained it, gave it to the grandmother every morning for a few weeks. And her symptoms actually got better, and eventually she was completely healed because of the celery juice. And they had tried many things before that. It was the celery juice that made the difference. So this is one example. Ever since then, ever since Anthony William was 4 years old, back in the 80s, and a long time ago, he's been spontaneously gaining a source of information about how sickness is working in people around him, and specifically what they need to do in order to heal and reverse their symptoms. And you might say, well, Adam, that sounds kind of like mystical. What do you mean he's getting the information? I don't understand. Like how? Like from where? Like what, he's just making it up, or what's happening? So yeah, so you may, it's almost like, okay, so please understand that there are people on planet Earth who just spontaneously are able to know things without it having to be proved, or having to read a book about it, or having to like study it or be taught it. Some people just spontaneously just know how reality works in certain areas. And throughout history, historically, these people were called witches. They were tied up to chairs and thrown in the water to drown, or they were burned at the stake. Okay? So this is a phenomenon that has been happening for thousands of years, for a very long time. Human beings, some of them are just born and they just know how reality works in some areas. That doesn't mean they're superheroes and they can fly, but they have you could say a connection to some kind of source of information. Maybe it came in them, or it's connecting to something greater, some higher sources giving them information, and they're using it to help people. Now you might say, well, Adam, that sounds like quackery to me. That sounds like witchcraft, or I don't believe in that. How do we ensure that it's actually true? How do we know that someone who just claims to have spiritual information just downloading into them, how do we know that it's real? How do we know it's true? We can't just trust anyone. Now, yeah, that's a great argument, and that's important. Yeah, of course, you don't just trust anyone blindly that claims to know things. Of course, it's good to be skeptical. I'm encouraging skepticism. It's good, okay? I'm not saying don't be skeptical. Please be skeptical. It's good. That being said, if you're going to be skeptical, you have to be completely skeptical. See, this is the thing. People are skeptical only about the things that they're not familiar with, that sounds a little bit outside of their paradigm, or it's a little bit kooky, or they're not used to it. But people are not skeptical about the ideas that they've been indoctrinated with and taught and conditioned to believe from birth, from when they're very young, going to literally 16 years of schooling, education, learning about religion, learning about science, the scientific method, and all of this. They're not skeptical about that. That gets a free pass. So this is the trap of partial skepticism. Okay, so skepticism is good. That's how you discover the truth. You have to start by just not knowing. I don't know what's true. How do I know what everyone's saying is right? Yeah, that's good. Stay there. But you can't only be skeptical about new information that sounds a little bit spiritual or kooky or crazy. You have to be skeptical of every information, all information, even stuff that you think is 100% true. You can turn skepticism into a weapon when you forget to turn it back on yourself. You have to be skeptical of my own beliefs, my own ideas, my own convictions about what is true, what's real, what's scientific. The skepticism, if you're going to use it, it can't be partial. It has to be complete, because otherwise you're not actually being logically integrous. You're not being in integrity with what it really means to undertake an open-minded investigation into what is actually true and real in reality, and how do you know? You can't just say, oh, well, obviously science is real because it's true. Okay, but that begs the question. The question is, how do you know science is true? We may say, well, it works. Clearly it works, Adam. You're filming this video, right, with a camera that's built by science, right? And you have a microphone, and you're benefiting from science all day. So yeah, I'm not saying science is completely, totally, 100% wrong all the time. And I'm not saying that I hate science. I love science. It's great. It's beautiful. But in this scenario of chronic illness and diet, it is not working. Okay? So when something is not working, then there's probably something that's wrong in the foundation of the belief system, or it's just not working, it's not true. That being said, Anthony Williams' information, even though it wasn't run through a laboratory, it just came to him spontaneously, that is working extremely, extremely well, helping millions of people reverse their chronic illnesses and giving them clear, detailed explanations of exactly how and why they're sick and how to heal. It is working for me and for millions of other people, and it'll work for you as well as we get into it. But just please, just bear in mind that I had to give this preamble. I know it's about diet. We had to talk about science and all this stuff because we're talking about a very tricky topic about how do you know what's true? How do I know what to trust? What's real? This person saying protein, this person saying fat, this person saying no fruit, a lot of fruit. What do I do? I'm confused. So yeah, it's okay to be confused. The only answer forward is, ironically, science. But not science as in the science of I just believe what other people tell me. That's not science. The real science is to learn the hypothesis, study the source that you're going to test, study it deeply, understand the ins and outs of it, and then apply it in your experience. See how it works for you. And you need to also understand that modern science is unable to grapple with this information that's coming from medical medium because there's an actual paradigmatic bias. It's biased against sources that seem spiritual or airy-fairy or whatever it is, just because the person knows how the diet and the person and how the human body works. Instantly, science is anyways. Okay, so we'll talk about that more in as we go on. I just want to really give you the information, and just all I'm saying is keep an open mind, test it out. Yeah, it doesn't come from, double-blind studies, but then again, all the things that are coming from the double-blind studies aren't working. And that's the problem for millions of people are seeing 10, 20, 30 doctors. The doctors are just shrugging their shoulders. I don't know why you have chronic illness. I don't know why you have cancer. I don't know why you're sick. I'm sorry. Here, try this, whatever. It's quackery, okay? It's actual quackery. It's not working, all right? So this is working, and there's specific reasons why. All right. Okay, whoo! So, what is Anthony William all about? Let me summarize it super quick so you understand the gist of what's going on. Anthony William is saying the reason why millions of people are sick is, first of all, misinformation. There's too much information just being thrown around. People are, throwing science, this science, that science. It's all being thrown around. People on the left side of the aisle are throwing it. The meat eaters are arguing with the vegans who are arguing with this person, that person. Meanwhile, there's millions of people sick and they have no cure, right? So the misinformation, the food wars, that's one reason. Your mind is just confused, basically. But what is your mind confused about? So what Anthony William is saying is that the cause of all illness, or not all illness, but most of these chronic illnesses that are plaguing our race, our species, is a couple things. Number one, in today's day and age, we are absolutely bombarded by chemicals of all kinds. Man-made toxic chemicals of all kinds are in the air. They're in the sky from the jets. They fly by and they're burning fuel, and it's raining down. There's car exhaust fumes. There's fertilizers that are made of all kinds of man-made chemicals it's blowing out into the wind. It's getting into the food. It's getting into the water. So these fertilizers, pesticides like DDT, this kind of stuff, it was sprayed so heavily in the 50s and it stays in the environment, and actually it bioaccumulates. So the DDT doesn't go anywhere, okay? So these chemicals are in the environment. Also, heavy metals it's in pesticides, it's in car exhaust, but there's heavy metals like copper, arsenic, lead, mercury, nickel, aluminum, these kinds of things. It's in the water, okay? It's in the pipes, it's in the water. It's in the air from all the chemicals, the exhaust fumes, all of this burned materials. So the chemicals also, these metals, they also come from using a lot of metal cutlery. Where do you get the metals from? They're in your body. So these metals and these chemicals and these pollutants, also radiation, like nuclear radiation. I'm talking about the explosion of Chernobyl in 1986. That exploded up into the atmosphere, and slowly over the next 100 years, all of the nuclear radiation is raining down gradually onto us. Okay, it's raining down. And Japan, 2011, the nuclear power plant explosion. It stays in the atmosphere, it stays in the water, it stays in the air, it becomes inundated in us. So we're exposed to massive amounts of toxic chemicals. That's not even to mention all the bullshit things like fake fragrances. Okay, this is a big one. Colognes, perfumes, chemical cleaners of all kinds, scented candles, air fresheners. These, I know they seem harmless, but they're really not. These chemicals are extremely, extremely poisonous and toxic, and they cause all sorts of problems in your body, which we'll talk about in a second. So these air fresheners, they bioaccumulate in your body, these scents, that laundry detergent, soap, the fake scents, you're being bombarded by this. It's toxic, it's not good for you because it's man-made, okay? Also, Yeah, so there's just all these chemicals, like just tons of chemicals in your body. There's microplastics, there's metals, all this stuff. It bioaccumulates in your body. It stays in your organs. And you need to understand that this stuff is also passed on from your parents as well. So from your mom and your mom's mom and your mom's mom's mom. Okay? It can be passed on, these metals, these chemicals, these pesticides, this radiation. This gets passed on in the womb. All right? The mom and the baby, they're basically one. they're exchanging all sorts of liquids and nutrients with each other. Of course, in pregnancy, all the metals that your mom had, now you have, which is why someone like me, when I'm 1 year old, 2 years old, I have chronic eczema all over my body. And the only explanation that modern science has for this right now is, well, I don't know, I guess he's just born with eczema. He's just an eczema baby. I don't know, it's just a genetic thing. I don't know, maybe it runs in the family. You know, the only thing running in the family is heavy metals that are being passed down, okay? Now, heavy metals and toxins and chemical agents are not the only thing that's being passed on. There's another thing. There's two factors that are involved in causing chronic illness. Number one is the chemicals, the radiations, the metals, and so forth. Number two, very, very important to understand, is viruses. Viruses are the other thing that are making you sick. Many viruses, such as Epstein-Barr virus. There's dozens of, actually hundreds of different human herpes viruses. These live in your body. There's viruses living in your body right now. There's shingles. Not everyone has shingles. Not everyone has, the other one was, so there's herpes, Epstein-Barr, streps, that's the one, streptococcus as well. So there's many varieties of these viruses. They live in your body, and what do they live, they're in you right now. And if you don't know, if you don't have any obvious symptoms, then just wait. Just wait. You'll get symptoms later. That's why everyone's sick, because there's these viruses. They get passed from people to people. My Zia was my aunt, was asking Adam, how do these viruses get passed? Well, just like all viruses get passed. You share the same water bottle as someone. You go to the grocery store and you touch the bathroom door handle, and then you go to wipe your eye, and then all of a sudden it gets in you. You share the same fork as someone sneezes on you. So these viruses, you catch them, you can get them from your mom in the birthing process. So there's viruses, they're in your body, and the problem is that these viruses are actually feeding on all of the chemicals. So the viruses, they eat metals. They eat toxic copper and mercury and aluminum and nickel that's built up in your liver and in your kidneys and in your gut and your brain. The viruses, that's one of their favorite foods. Also, believe it or not, man-made chemicals like air fresheners, these viruses, they'll eat that, along with other problem foods, which we're going to talk about in a second. So problem foods will also feed these viruses. So what happens is these viruses, they live in your body. They're undetected. Many of these viruses are undiscovered by science. In fact, right now, at the time of recording, science doesn't even acknowledge that viruses eat food. That they eat. Currently, science thinks that viruses don't eat. They just like live. We don't know how they live, but they literally, they think viruses are things that exist. They're living things, but they violate the laws of life that you learned in grade 1 about how all living things need to eat. And also, all living things create waste. So that's the problem, is that these viruses, they're feeding on toxic chemicals in your body, and then when they create waste, they literally poop in your body. This is extra toxic. So it's like The toxic metals are then eaten by the viruses and expelled, and then they're extra toxic. Then what happens is your immune system becomes overloaded. Your liver becomes overloaded. It can't cleanse all of this toxic debris that's being pumped into your body. And then, you're still being exposed to all these chemicals. You're not doing any cleansing protocols. In fact, you're doing the opposite, which is the traditional diet wisdom to eat high-fat diets, which makes cleansing even harder. Because now your liver has to then devote some of its precious energy to now digesting all this fat that you're feeding it, because your liver has over 500 jobs. One of them is to digest fat, and another one is to clean your body of all this shit that's inside of it. So if you're feeding it tons of fat, trying to put on muscle, eggs for breakfast, sausage for breakfast, so much fat, nuts, more protein, it overloads your liver. You can't cleanse, and then you start getting chronic illness. Like eczema, for example. All of the toxins can't be cleansed by your liver, so your body comes up with other ways to cleanse it, like releasing it through the skin, right? Which is why you get eczema. Or like mucus, creating tons of mucus to try to get rid of these toxins in the lungs. I struggled with this a lot when I was young. I would stay up long nights and I couldn't breathe. My nose wouldn't work. I couldn't breathe because my body had a virus in it that was creating waste, and my body was trying to get rid of it by creating all this mucus, and your body's trying to protect itself. Mucus in your sinuses, in your nose, in your lungs, asthma. I would get seasonal allergies, which is also a chronic illness. My seasonal allergies that I used to have severe seasonal allergies, to the point where the liquids would build up in my sinuses so bad that they would then get to my ears, and then I would get ear infections, and I'd have liquid in my ear, and I would just feel all stuffed and clogged. That doesn't happen to me anymore. And I'm out in nature all day. And I don't get allergies anymore because I've been doing this diet protocol, because this is how your body works. So the causes of even things like cancer, I can't go into every single chronic illness, but even most cancers are caused by viruses. All of the stuff, the leaky gut syndrome, the gastritis, the sinus infections, the UTIs, the skin disorders, all of this, the leaky gut syndrome, the Hashimoto's, the SIBO, all of this, the fibromyalgia, it's caused by viruses in your body that are eating toxic chemicals that are also in your body, and your diet is not helping it cleanse. All right? So now let's talk about unhelpful foods that contribute and actually exacerbate this problem and make it even worse. So I'm going to give you a list of the problem foods you need to avoid, because a lot of these foods feed the viruses. First of all, I wanted to acknowledge that not all of these viruses are currently discovered by modern science. Anthony William, in his books, is very specific, detailed. That's why I love the information so much, is because he's not spitballing and guessing. He's giving you specific, detailed, actual telling you the names of these viruses and the versions of them and what they eat specifically that causes your illness. Specific. It's not vague. He's not citing scientific studies or anything like that. The only thing he's citing is what he calls the spirit of compassion, which it just channels directly through him and gives him extremely accurate and effective diet advice that heals people's chronic illnesses. So he's channeling directly from source. He's not going through Harvard and Yale and stuff, which is actually problematic. We're going to talk about the problem foods. So many of the problem foods, so we're going to talk about eggs. Eggs is a massive problem food. If you're eating a lot of eggs, you need to stop immediately. And I know that hurts your feelings because you like eggs and you've been eating eggs since you were young and you like omelets I do too. I also love eggs. I've had tons of eggs in my life. I love them. All kinds of egg recipes. I've been eating them since I was young. That's also why I was sick since I was young, because unfortunately eggs are one of the number one offenders, because the hormones in the eggs is one of the virus's favorite food. Eggs feed viruses. You know this because in science, in old studies that they would do in labs, they would actually study Epstein-Barr's and they would study herpes and streps. In order to study these viruses, they need to keep them alive in a culture, and the way they do it is they would actually have them live in egg yolks, because that's what they eat. That's how they live. So eggs. You need to stop eating eggs. All eggs. Doesn't matter if it's organic, grass-fed, pasture-raised, your friend's backyard, whatever it is, you grow the chickens yourself, doesn't matter. The eggs are causing all sorts of chronic illnesses, and if they're not yet, which they are, but if they're not yet, you don't realize it yet, they're going to in the future, and your body's going to stop working, basically, because that's the society we live in right now. So eggs. I'm also going to talk about dairy as well. So dairy, hormones, it feeds viruses. All dairy, even ghee, even kefir. No, ghee doesn't just slip by and not touch any of your body. No, ghee, it feeds viruses. I don't care if the Ayurvedans were using ghee 2,000 years ago, whatever. Times have changed now. It's not that they didn't have those viruses 2,000 years ago in Italy or in Greece, in Switzerland, when they're eating, they're raising the cows on their own and eating the milk. It's not the same, because now we have tons of chemicals inside of. We have all of these viruses. They eat dairy. They eat the hormones from the dairy, and it helps them grow, and it helps them multiply, and it causes toxic waste in your body, and it makes you very, very, very sick. All right, so no dairy at all. No cheese, nothing. Now again, I'm not trying to deprive you of your favorite foods. I am actually going to be giving you a diet plan that will make you feel so nourished and loved and taken care of. And you're going to feel so healthy and hydrated, and all of your cravings will be fulfilled and satisfied, because you're going to be getting all of the nutrients that you need. So I'm not saying this because I'm trying to deprive you. I'm saying this because I'm actually trying to give you health and well-being and abundance. All right, so the next problem food is wheat. Okay, wheat is extremely genetically modified, and it feeds viruses again. Okay, wheat. It's not the wheat that our ancestors used to eat. It's completely different. It's heavily genetically modified, okay? Same with corn. Corn is not a vegetable. Corn is a grain that is extremely genetically modified, and it has been proven to feed viruses, all right? Highly processed sugars as well, corn syrup, white table sugar, this kind of stuff feeds viruses. Fake sugar feeds viruses. Don't eat that. Also, you want to stay away from pork and lamb. Okay, so organic chicken, grass-fed beef, those foods don't feed viruses, so you're allowed to eat those foods in moderation, because there's a lot of fat, and you don't want to. Those foods are okay. We're going to talk about that more. So chicken, grass-fed beef, that's fine. But pork and lamb, big problem, because the fats they stay in your bloodstream for 12 to 18 hours, and they prevent your body from cleansing. Your liver has to then work. So basically, whenever you eat a piece of pork, a sausage, a bacon, a pork chop, or a lamb chop, whatever it is, your liver basically has to take 12 to 18 hours off of cleansing your body, and it has to devote all of its energy to digesting the fat. We don't want our liver doing that. It's already overloaded as it is. So we don't want to be thickening our blood with pork and lamb, making it difficult to cleanse. Also, the next problem food is tuna, because tuna has tons of mercury, heavy metals in it, and that's just adding to the problem. All right. The other problem food, I don't want to forget any. Tofu and soy. Okay? Tofu and soy is heavily genetically modified, and it's so bad that it feeds viruses. The reason why it's so heavily genetically modified is because it's what we use to feed our animals, our cows and pigs and chickens. So we just spray all kinds of shit on it and genetically modify it to the point where it's not even really a food anymore. It's just a man-made creation. So that will cause lots of issues in your problem. No tofu, no soy. Okay, of course, no MSG. Okay, no fake salts. And a big one is no canola oil, no safflower oil, sunflower oil, vegetable oil. Extremely toxic. Specifically, vegetable oil and canola oil, and even palm oil. This kind of stuff. You don't want to touch that stuff with a 6-foot pole. Okay. The oils you can use are things like extra virgin avocado oil, coconut oil, even pure olive oil that's not cut with other oils, just pure olive oil. You can use those. Those are fine. Yeah, those are healthy oils you can use, just not too much. Okay. Okay, so that was the list of foods to avoid in order to help you cleanse. So this is the answer to healing chronic illness and to making you feel amazing. Amazing. I need to drink some water. All right, now we're going to be talking about the cleanse, the famous cleanse protocol for how to cleanse your body of all of this toxic fucking garbage that is everywhere in your air. Excuse my language, sorry, should have kept this PG, my mistake. Everywhere, in the air, in your food, in your water, in your body already, in your brain, your liver, your kidneys. Toxic chemicals, how do we get them out of our system? The way we do this is by undertaking a morning cleanse protocol along with a diet change that is not going to deprive you. It's going to make you feel amazing. You can have as much food as you want as long as it's healthy food, okay? So let's talk about the healthy stuff now. So how do we cleanse? How do we do the morning cleanse? How do we flush all of the toxins, and how do we starve these viruses by not feeding them their favorite foods like eggs, dairy, wheat, corn, etc. But we're never going to feed them their favorite foods. We're going to actually feed them their least favorite foods so that they die and so that your body comes back to life and is extremely healthy, and you will feel like $1 million, and that will actually support you in making $1 million and more, because how you feel is how you get results in your life. Many of your chronic illnesses, your inability to be motivated, your lack of consistency, your difficulty with difficult attention span, addictions, a lot of this stuff is just because you're eating shit, okay? So I promise you, when you take on this new diet protocol, you will see your life will change and your body will change on a cellular level, and you will feel it, okay? I promise you, you will feel it on a cellular level. All right, so the almighty morning cleanse, the famous morning cleanse that has cleansed millions of people and is helping them bring their bodies back to life, helping them to cleanse all of the toxins and viruses out of them by tapping into their body's natural cleansing rhythms. Your body naturally cleanses in the morning, okay? Your body is cleansing in the morning, so we're going to support it, and this is how you do that. First thing when you wake up in the morning, you wake up, You don't check your phone because that's degenerate. You're gonna ruin your brain. Anyways, the checking you can check your phone if you want. Okay, that's not part of the cleanse technically. Okay, but still, it's not gonna help you. But anyways, you wake up and you have to brush your teeth before you drink anything. Okay, first thing, brush your teeth. Why? Because overnight your liver, your other organs, your pancreas, it's actually cleansing all sorts of toxic chemicals, and it's bringing them up to the surface, and there's all kinds of gases and bacterias that actually come up, and they come and some of them land on your mouth overnight as you're sleeping, on your tongue, on your gums, etc. So if you go to drink water without brushing your teeth, you're just washing all of the toxins back into your body. Okay? So first thing, brush your teeth. I highly recommend you use a natural toothpaste, not like a Colgate or a Crest or any of this stuff, because that has fluoride and it's not helpful. Try to use a natural toothpaste. You can use fluoride-free toothpaste. Okay? And after you brush your teeth, your mouth is clean. Now is when you drink 500 milliliters, or that's 2 cups of lemon water. Now I know you just brushed your teeth. The last thing you want to drink is lemon water. I know it's sour and now you have like mint taste in your mouth. It's literally the last thing you want to do. I get it, I understand. This is the only part of the cleanse where you kind of got to soldier through it a little bit, because unfortunately, if you can't get a non-mint flavored toothpaste, but I get it. It sucks because you just brush your teeth, your mouth is all minty, and now you're going to drink lemon water. I get it. It doesn't taste good. I understand. I get it. That doesn't matter, because the lemon water is exactly what your body needs first thing in the morning to help to flush all of these toxins that were brought to the curb overnight. If your body's like a waste management system, all of the liver, it brings all of the garbage out to the curb. The lemon water comes in, it binds to the toxins, and it allows them to be flushed out of the body. Okay? It also hydrates you with key sugars that are mixed with vitamins like vitamin C, calcium, and trace minerals, even some trace salts as well, that is very important for your body. This is what is in the lemon water, and it supports your body in the cleansing, okay? So you drink 2 glasses of lemon water. How do you make it? How much lemon should I put? Should it be hot or cold? So first of all, it needs to not be hot. Okay, if it's hot, that will denature the lemon and it will ruin all of its healing qualities. Okay, not hot. Room temperature water is perfect. Okay, cold works. Room temperature water is perfect. Okay, so you're going to take a tall glass of water, or 500 milliliters of water, or just 2 regular cups of water, and you're going to squeeze half a lemon into it, the whole half. Okay, the whole thing. Squeeze it in there, and then drink it, the whole thing. Okay, if you want, you can have more. Try not to have less. Okay, if you're especially sensitive to lemon, then just put a bit less. Put instead of the whole half, put a quarter. Okay, but a whole half is going to be more healing than a quarter. A quarter is going to be more healing than an eighth, etc. So just put half the lemon. You don't need to put a whole lemon. Okay, you don't need to overdo it. You don't need to squeeze 10 lemons into a glass and drink that. That's not going to help. Half a lemon in 2 cups of water is perfect. Okay. So a note on what kind of water you're using. Try to get filtered water, not Brita. Okay. Try to get reverse osmosis filtered water. That'll just help a bit. It's not necessary. It will help though. Okay. And try to get organic lemons and organic celery, and we'll talk about that in a second. Okay. It's not necessary though. Conventional will help you heal. Organic will help you heal even more. Okay, and it'll be even more nutritious for you, and it'll be even more effective, and it'll actually be more cost effective in terms of the nutrients density that you're getting for your dollar is actually higher in organic food. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. So after you drink your lemon water, you're going to feel nice and hydrated, you feel good. Now you have 15 to 30 minutes to do whatever you want before we then have our celery juice, which is the next thing, okay? So celery juice is a key part, an integral part of this entire cleansing process. Now, if you don't have celery juice, you don't have access to celery for whatever reason, or you don't want to make it, the lemon water is a good start, okay? That's like level 1. But the celery is extremely, extremely important. It is so important that it is worth the little bit of the hassle that it is to juice it or to blend it and strain it. Okay, it's worth the hassle extremely, because celery is not actually a vegetable, it's an herb. And throughout history, herbs have been known for their healing, medicinal qualities. Okay, so this celery juice specifically has over 60 different sodium cluster salts in it. Many of them have not even been discovered by modern science. There's over 60 specific varieties of sodium cluster salts. Right now, science doesn't even acknowledge the existence of different kinds of salts that are contained in fruits and vegetables. They just think, oh, it's just sodium. It's all sodium, it's all made equal. No, it absolutely is not all made equal. There's many different kinds of sodiums that your body uses in different areas. Your body uses these sodium cluster salts. Most of them that your body needs are in this celery juice, if not all of them are in this celery juice. And it helps your body to, first of all, heal damaged tissues. Okay, so your tissues have been damaged through many years of bad diet choices, virus activity. Your tissues are damaged. Okay, chemicals, toxins, metals, this kind of stuff. The mineral salts come in and they help to heal the damaged tissues. Okay, they also help to neutralize the heavy metals and to neutralize their toxicity, because one problem, especially if you have a lot of heavy metal deposits in your brain, is that they'll actually screw with your electrical signals that your brain is firing into your nerves, into your body. This is why you get things like brain fog or ADD or OCD, or like there's certain metals, that there's certain deposits of metals when your brain overheats, like when you get really, really angry. So a lot of these metals, like the mercuries, the nickels, and the coppers, they'll actually fuse together and they'll create alloys in your brain. And this will push against certain parts of your brain and cause all kinds of problems in your life, okay? So the celery juice comes in, actually neutralizes the electric charge of these metals, and it helps to loosen them up and prepare them to be eliminated, and sometimes it can even help to eliminate them. All right, we'll talk about heavy metal detox as we go on. So the sodium cluster salts, they also help to break down old rotting food that's in your gut. Mold, yeast, fungus is in your gut, and also rancid fats that have been there for so long they get stuck to your gut, and then they go bad. They start to rot inside of you. This creates a home for all sorts of viruses to live in. They love living in that plaque in your gut, in the same way, you know how bacteria lives in the plaque in your teeth? It's the same for in your gut. So this diet also will help you with dental problems, because dental problems are a whole another topic, so we'll talk about that at another time, but this will help with that a lot, okay? So the sodium cluster salts breaks down all of these things in your gut that are acidic, because rancid fats are acidic, fatty acids, fat is acidic. The celery juice is alkaline, and it's one of the most powerful ways on earth to alkalize your gut, to alkalize your whole body, to kill bad bacteria and bad things living in your gut, and to promote the growth of good gut bacteria that actually help your body function properly. okay? So those are some of the benefits of celery juice. It helps your brain work better. These mineral salts, literally, they act as electrical conductors, so your brain signals function better. It's like the medium through which the electrical signals that your brain can fire, and you'll feel amazing. If you drink celery juice, you'll immediately feel the benefits instantly. You'll feel it, okay? So celery juice is also electrically charged. It's a very intelligently designed herb. Okay, so let's talk about, why do we have to juice it? Why can't we just eat the celery? It's because the fiber, the medicine is not in the fiber, which is the stalks, the stringy part. The medicine is in the liquid. It's in the juice. Okay? So we separate the juice from the fiber so that the juice has an easier time getting into the body. It's completely different, okay, than just eating celery, because the juice, then it goes directly to where it needs to go. It drips into the pancreas, the duodenum. It goes in flushes the kidneys, the small intestine. All of this goes up to the liver and helps with the healing, okay? So the juice makes it easier for your body to uptake it, okay? The analogy he uses is like when you purchase a treat from the store, you open the wrapping, right? And you get rid of the wrapping, but you eat the actual food, okay? So it's the same with the celery juice. We juice it with the fiber is the wrapping, okay? The juice, that's the medicine, that's what we consume, okay? Of course, you can eat celery stalks throughout the day, that's fine. But when we're talking about the morning cleanse, it's pure celery juice with nothing added, okay? There's no apples, there's no radishes, there's no arugula or cilantro added into it. There's nothing wrong with that in general. You know, you can have that later in the day. But in the morning, if we're talking about the morning cleanse, the celery is the most powerful on its own. Okay, when it's pure celery juice, it needs to be on its own. How do you make it? Okay, so you buy an organic celery. It could be conventional, that's fine. If you don't have organic, you can't afford it, you know, I would urge you to reconsider about the affording part, because a lot of times that it's completely different. There's like a different quality to the conventional, the organic. You can taste. Do an experiment. Have conventional for a few days and then have organic for a few days and taste the difference. Okay, it's saltier, the organic one. There's more density of salts, and even you'll notice the foam on the glass is shaped differently because it has a different genetic structure. It's not genetically modified, and there's not tons of pesticides in the soil and oil-based pesticides sprayed on the actual skin of the celery, okay? But if you can only get conventional, that's fine. That'll work too. That will also heal you. So don't get your panties up in a twist worrying that you're not healing because you can only have conventional. Conventional will heal you. Organic will heal you more, okay? Just make sure you wash your conventional really, really well. Wash it. You can even use these organic vegetable soaps that will break down the oil-based pesticides that's sprayed onto the food, onto the skin, okay? So in order to make celery juice, how much should I have? So ideally, you're having 16 to 32 ounces of celery juice. So what that looks like in the metric system is 500 milliliters to 1 whole liter of celery juice. Okay? So that looks usually roughly about one whole stalk of celery, not a stick, a stalk. That usually comes out to about 16 ounces. So that's a great place to start as a beginner. Okay, 16 ounces is amazing. You can have 16 ounces every day. Awesome. So what you do is you take your celery, okay? You cut off the bottom, the butt, okay? You can chop a little bit off the top because it kind of like dries at the top a little bit, just like literally a quarter of an inch just off the top, okay? And off the bottom, now you have all these sticks, okay? Take each individual stick and you wash it, okay? Because there's dirt and stuff, so wash it, okay? And if your celery is very leafy, you can actually pick the leaves off and throw them out, because the medicine is not in the leaves, it's in the stalks. That's where the majority of the medicine is. The leaves will also give it a bit of a bitter taste, okay? You can leave the leaves as well, though. The leaves are okay to leave, but if you want it to taste that bitter, you could just pick them off and just throw them out, okay? So now you have your washed celery sticks, okay? A whole stalk worth of celery sticks. There's two ways that you can extract the juice from out of them. Number one is to run it through a masticating juicer, okay? A masticating juicer is a juicer that juices food without heat, okay? This is so important. If you're using an electric juicer that uses heat to process the juice, it will denature the cells of the celery. It'll ruin the cluster salts, and it'll ruin everything, okay? So you want to juice it with an unheated juicer, a masticating juicer. There's plenty of them you can find on Amazon at affordable prices. Yeah, not an Amazon ad, you can buy them from anywhere. So you want to use a masticating juicer. You just feed the stalks through, okay? And then you drink the 500 milliliters of celery juice all at once, okay? You don't have to do all at once. You can sip it, but just get it in you, okay? It heals you when it's inside you, not when it's just sitting in the glass. All right, you can take your time with it if you want. You can sip it, whatever. Just get that 500 milliliters inside you, okay? The other way that you can extract the juice out of the celery stalks is to blend it in a blender. Blend it to a pulp, till it's literally a pulp. And then you can pour it into a cheesecloth or a muslin cloth. It's called like a nut milk bag. It's just this cloth that's made for like straining. Okay, it's a straining cloth. You pour it in, all the pulp, pour it in there, and then you just squeeze it by hand. I've done that for years. I love doing it that way. It works great. Okay, so if you can't afford a juicer, no problem. Use a blender and a straining cloth, a bag, and you can even use like a t-shirt, but I recommend a straining cloth. Squeeze it. If you squeeze it into a bowl, okay, get all the juice out, and then drink it. I drink it out of the bowl. You can pour it into a glass if you want. Just drink all of it. All right. Those were the two ways to make celery juice. Then afterwards, I don't even really wash with soap, because I know it can be a hassle to wash everything afterwards. You can just rinse it, because celery has an antiviral quality. It's actually antibacterial. So it kills bad bacteria in your body, and it supports good bacteria. But yeah, it's not dirty. So you can kind of just rinse it with water after your blender, your juicer. Just rinse it with water, and then you can leave it for next day. You can wash it every few days instead of every single day, to just save yourself some time and some energy. All right. So now you have your celery juice. Your God's elixir is in your stomach now. Oh my goodness, you are going to have an amazing day. Okay, I promise you, you're going to have an amazing day with this celery juice. You started the day on a high note. All right, you're already going to start to feel the mineral salts helping your body function properly. Okay, you're going to feel like you've been given something that you've been lacking for years. Most people are salt deficient. That's why we're chronically craving chips and candied nuts and all McDonald's and all this stuff. You're salt deficient, so the celery juice helps to shore that up. It gives you all the key mineral salts you need. All right, it's in your stomach. Now you have to wait 15 to 30 minutes. All right, guys, make sure you're not eating anything during this time between the lemon water, before the lemon water, the celery juice. This all has to be done on an empty stomach. Okay, so lemon water, celery juice, that's all on an empty stomach. Okay, so you drink the lemon water, you wait 15 to 30 minutes, then you drink the celery juice. You wait 30 minutes to an hour. Now you can have breakfast. So what's for breakfast, Adam? The answer is fruit. Lots of it. Lots of fruit. As much fruit as you want, actually. You can have an entire watermelon for breakfast. That will be so healing and so nutritious for you. Now, again, the problem is a lot of people are scared of sugar. There's a lot of fruit fear out there where people are literally afraid of eating fruit because they've been told that the sugar is not good for them or it's going to make them fat. Okay? I need you to really understand here, please, when you're taking in this information, you need to put aside what you've learned about how food works and how the body works, because you've been lied to by many people, by many sources. It's just not true, okay? Sugar is nothing to be scared of as long as it's coming from actual fruit, okay? Or vegetables. It's extremely good for you, extremely good for you. It's binded to all the minerals and the vitamins. It's intelligently designed to be connected to the liquid of the fruit, and your body uptakes it perfectly. It's literally a system that is designed by an intelligent source of nature. Okay? So this fruit, it's extremely good for you. You can have a whole watermelon for breakfast, an entire cantaloupe. You can have a honeydew. You can have 10 bananas. Yeah, I said 10 bananas. You can have a large quantity of fruit without worrying about rotting your teeth, because that's not how it works. Fruit does not, absolutely not rot your teeth at all. And the sugar is actually very good. Your body, your organs, your brain runs on this sugar. It needs these vitamins. What I like to do ideally is to make the heavy metal detox smoothie, which I'm going to link the recipe in the description. It uses wild blueberries, bananas, cilantro, fresh cilantro, spirulina powder, barley grass juice powder, Atlantic sea dulse, and some orange juice. I know some of those ingredients you haven't heard before. It sounds a little bit, a little bit hippie-ish or a little bit exotic. It's not exotic. All of the things are specifically designed. Anthony William explained, the information came to him. All of these ingredients, all of these foods that I mentioned, the blueberries, the spirulina, the cilantro, all of them work together in unison to cleanse heavy metals specifically out of your body for good. Okay, so that heavy metal detox smoothie, you can have that for breakfast. That's amazing, like amazing. If not, that's okay. You can have tons of fruit. You can have oats, you can have millet, okay, because that won't feed viruses, but you want to emphasize fruit, and very key, no fat in the morning. No peanut butter, no seeds, no chia seeds, no nuts, no avocado, no meat. God forbid you have eggs and bacon. You might as well just go back to sleep and then wake up again and try again tomorrow, because your body is literally going to be shut off for the entire day. No cleansing and no healing will happen that entire day if you have eggs and bacon for breakfast. You will ruin your life if you eat that. I promise you. I promise you. Then you're going to blame something else. It's going to be another thing that you're going to blame, not your diet. No eggs and bacon for breakfast, please. Guys, I love eggs and bacon. I'm not an egg hater. I love it. It tastes good. I understand. I eat it since I was 3 years old. I get it. That's also why I was extremely sick and my body didn't work for 20 years until now that I actually had to cleanse it. And I don't miss eggs and bacon because I'm getting all my key nutrients from the rest of my diet. Okay? So tons of fruit in the morning. No, you don't need protein in the morning. No, okay? You don't need protein in the morning. By the way, did you know fruit has trace amounts of protein? So when you eat a good amount of it, you get the protein you need. You might say, well, Adam, I'm a bodybuilder. I need protein in the morning. And the answer is no, you don't. Actually, what you need to build muscle is not protein, but actually it's glucose, sugar, from fruits. Okay, so if you have a whole watermelon, and then go do your deadlifts or your chin-ups or whatever it is, you will see your muscles will actually grow more faster. You'll get better sets, better reps, everything. You'll get better results if you do this morning cleanse. I promise you. Test it out. Don't believe me? We're going to talk about protein in another episode, okay? Because that's like a big, I know I just kind of threw a flashbang in there. What do you mean protein doesn't build muscle, bro? Where's my protein, bro? Come on. My protein, I've been eating fucking 9 whey drinks every morning. Protein. Protein doesn't build muscle. It's a lie. It's propaganda from a lot of egg, meat, dairy industries. The propaganda is actually in the education system. It's in the literal academia. It's the propaganda for these industries, these meat industries, they need to eat. They need to sell. It literally, they buy studies. You understand how science works in 2024. They buy studies. Hey, I'll pay you $3 million if you give me a study that shows that protein is important for living a healthy life. Now, yes, protein is important for living a healthy life, but not as much as we've been led to believe, and especially not from sources like eggs, pork, and that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not saying you can't have protein. You can have protein, that's fine. But you need to be careful about where you're getting it from. For example, if you have the heavy metal detox smoothie, spirulina is going to give you a very lean, a very clean, a very nutrient-dense form of protein that is going to support your whole body, but it's not going to support your muscle growth specifically, because protein does not contribute to muscle growth. There's only 3 things that contribute to muscle growth, which is glucose from fruit and vegetables, and just glucose in general. The other one is mineral salts, which also comes from fruits and vegetables and celery juice. And then the last one is using your muscles. Those are the 3 things that build muscle. Okay? Just so you know, that's a side point. We're going to make another video about that. You can listen to Medical Medium's podcast about the subject. You know, before you argue, look at the sources. Look at what I'm saying. Listen to the source. Okay? I know it's contradictory. I understand it goes against what you've been taught. And what I've found in my personal life is that if something goes against what I've been taught, I'm actually excited about learning more, because it's been a pattern in personal development and self-actualization. You'll see the opposite of what you've been taught about relationships is how you have a good relationship. The opposite of what you've been taught about money is how you do well with your money. The opposite of what you've been taught about health is how you do well with your health. There's a lot of conventional wisdom out there nowadays that is just, we're just in the dark ages as a society, basically. We're not as advanced as we pat ourselves on the back for being. All right? Okay, Adam, so I had a bunch of fruit for breakfast. I feel freaking amazing because I just realized that my brain and my organs run on fruit and that's how we've evolved as a species, to just eat fruit. It's everywhere, it grows off the trees. Pick it and eat it as much as you want. Okay, it's the Garden of Eden. How much fruit do you want? Go eat it. It's good for you. Okay, tons of it. You can have grapes, peaches, pears, bananas, melons, plums, wild blueberries, tons of wild blueberries, not conventional, they're not the same. Wild is specifically way better, okay? And you know, all sorts of fruits and that I can't list off the top of my head. Oranges, okay? So, okay, Adam, so I had my fruit. I feel like $1,000,000, but wait, it's lunchtime. I'm still now, you know, I'm hungry again. I filled up on fruit, okay, I burned it off. I worked out, you know, I did my work. I created some beautiful art. You know, I helped humanity evolve. I helped someone, you know, I'm doing my work. Okay, so I'm hungry again. What do I do? So now it's like lunchtime, right? All right, so it's lunchtime. Now, what I do, honestly, is I have more fruit, okay? I'll have like 5 apples. I'll blend them up in a blender and make applesauce with cinnamon, put some dates in there. You can have some fresh figs. You can have frozen banana ice cream. You can have that, okay? Or for lunch, you can have a nice, huge, leafy green salad, okay, with no vinegar and no dressings of this, like cheese dressing or whatever it is. Big, leafy green salad. You can have cooked potatoes. Steam some potatoes and eat a bunch of them. Sweet potatoes. Salads, any vegetable, cooked zucchini, cooked onions. You can have raw, you can have cooked as well. Steaming is the best way to cook. You can also fry it in a light amount of oil, like avocado oil or coconut oil. It's fine. It's still good for you, even if you cook it. It's okay. Okay, squash, cabbage, vegetable soup. Okay, broccoli, cauliflower, eat a lot of it, Adam, where's the protein? The protein is in the vegetables, okay? There's proteins in the vegetables. Great, super healthy versions of protein. Not all proteins created equal. Some protein will feed your viruses in your body. Other protein will support your whole body working well, okay? So if people feel like they need protein because they're scared that they're not going to be filled up. So we've been malnourished for so many years that the only thing that makes us feel full is a giant piece of chicken or a giant piece of steak or eggs, because that's the only thing that fills us up because we're nutrient deficient. Okay? You will be more full when you get more nutrients. So just eat larger quantities of potatoes, sweet potatoes, cabbage, squash, zucchini, greens, leafy greens, fruit, add more fruit in there, mangoes, okay, have it a lot. This will keep you healthy. It will heal your body. It will starve these viruses. It'll assist in cleansing. You can have grapes, okay? The thing with fruit is not only does the liquid in the fruit feed your body, it also feeds your emotions as well. This is something that hasn't been discovered by science, because the methods we use to even dissect the fruit denatures the enzymes and the water in the packaging. So since we're unconscious when we study it, then we get unconscious results because of quantum physics. Reality is entangled. The observer and the object observed are intertwined. So if the observer is not conscious of the intelligent design of these fruits and vegetables, then they're not going to be careful, and they're not going to take care to really look for how intelligent God, or how intelligent the Lord, I was going to say, which sounds so Christian, but how intelligent reality is, the universe, whatever you want to call it. All right. Okay, Adam, so it's dinner time now. What do I eat? Same thing I just said for lunch. All kinds of vegetables, any vegetable, not corn. Corn's not a vegetable, okay? Tomato salad, avocado, you can have even a bit of chicken. If you want to have a bit of chicken once a day, organic, sure. A bit of grass-fed, grass-finished beef once a day, or every other day, sure, you can have a bit of that, that's okay. Sardines, okay, sure. But some beans you can have, sure. Rice, sure. Quinoa, yeah. Not bread, okay, because that's wheat. But there's a lot of things you can eat, but you just want to emphasize the fruits and the veggies, because that's what's going to heal you. The other foods that I mentioned, like the quinoa, the beans, the meat, that's going to be more filler, okay? It's not really going to heal you, but it's also not going to feed viruses as well. So you're safe with those. You can enjoy that, okay? Now, there's tons of recipes that Anthony William, the medical medium, has in his books, okay? A lot of clean recipes. So, Adam, now, okay, I had dinner, but now I want more food. After dinner, I'm still, maybe I waited a few hours, I went for a run, whatever, I came back. Now I'm craving sweets again. What do? Guess what? Guess what it is when you're craving sweets? Guess what it is? Ready? It's more fruit. Okay? So he has ice cream recipes. You can blend frozen banana with frozen wild blueberries or apple. Okay? And then that makes banana ice cream. You can add some raw honey in there. Maple syrup. Okay? Fresh, real maple syrup. all this stuff. It's good for you. You can have a lot of it. It's so healthy. Don't be scared of the sugar. I know it's literally in your bones. You've been conditioned. Sugar's not good for you. But you need to understand the sugar is not the same sugar as like corn syrup in lollipops, okay? That happen to be fruit flavored, because these companies know that your body runs on fruit and needs fruit. Okay, fruit is good for you. You can have a lot. Don't be scared of it. It's your friend. You can have dates and apples. You can have baked pears that he has. You just cut pears in half, scoop out the seeds, add some maple syrup and some cinnamon, maybe a bit of walnuts, okay? Put them in the oven for 15 minutes on low. Come out, you got baked pears. So he has all kinds of great recipes, The Medical Medium, on his website. I recommend buying his books. Yeah, you can have some chaga tea with honey, raw honey, not Billy Bees, not the pasteurized honey, the boiled honey. You want raw honey. Yeah, and Adam, what if I'm craving salty at night, which you usually won't? But if you are, if you had your celery juice, you won't crave salty. But if you are, you can have some more celery juice, or you can have some more potatoes, some of your leftovers. You can have another bowl of your vegetable soup that you made. You can have banana oatmeal cookies with raisins, okay, which is not really salty. But okay, so this is a complete diet plan that I've just given you. You can have a little bit of nuts, okay, but not a lot, too much fat. Stick to what I said, okay? So you're gonna have lots of fruit. My card ran out of storage, so I'm just refilming this ending part here, but I'm basically done. I've given you the entire Anthony William diet protocol. There's a lot of medical medium information that I recommend you research and study, dive deep into it for yourself. Buy his books. There's detailed, deep information in there. Listen to his free podcast, okay? There's a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about more in the future, like certain objections about sugar, about protein, and all this stuff. We're going to make more. I'm going to make more videos about it because I'm excited about helping you to heal and be healthy. And this is the foundation of your self-actualization right here, okay? So I promise you in this video that if you do this diet for at least 30 days, you will notice a massive difference and you'll already start feeling a lot better, okay? You'll feel great. If, what was I gonna say? We ran out of juice because, yeah, so you're gonna feel amazing. I promise you, this diet's gonna change your life. I really did my best to present the information as well as possible. What you can do is, if you're interested in coming hanging out with me live, you can come chat with me for free. I was going to do a paid thing. We're not doing that anymore. It's gonna be all free. Come talk to me for free in our community. You can click the link in the description. I do life coaching. We talk about meditation. We talk about diet. We talk about life purpose, doing your art, finding what's exciting you and going after that, creating a plan to actualize it and make it real. This is what we talk about. Come get coaching from me for free. Come hang out in the community at the link in the description. We do weekly calls, and yeah, I offer free help because that's what I like to do. And also stay tuned. I got more videos like this on the way. I hope you enjoyed this video. Apply what I said here, please. I promise you it'll change your entire life. Realize that everyone around you is sick and they don't know why. Science doesn't know why. Don't wait for science to catch up, okay? It's gonna take 50 years, 100 years. You don't live that long, okay? So if you wanna be healthy and vibrant and alive and awake and feel good now, you don't have to wait for science. The info's already here. It has arrived. You can use it. Science will catch up eventually. It'll be a big war. There's all kinds of foreign interest. The dairy companies, the pharmaceutical companies, they all got their hands in there, organizing the curriculum, making sure this information stays hidden. and I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, I'm just telling you the way it is. Our nutrition information is heavily influenced by pharmaceutical industries, meat industries, egg industries, dairy industries. It's a known fact. It's a known fact. Okay, you can research that yourself. So this information here has no foreign interest. It's just Anthony William channeling the spirit of compassion that wants to help you be healthy because it sees that everyone is sick. The chemicals are making us sick. The viruses are making us sick. Science isn't helping. The doctors aren't helping because they don't know any better. Not saying the doctors are bad people. They haven't been taught because the info hasn't been released yet. But Anthony William released it. So research it yourself. Stick with it. Use it. Learn it. Become a master of it. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. It's good food. You're eating good food. Learn to enjoy how amazing fruits and vegetables already are. Okay, watch your tastes change over the next 30 days as you do this diet, and come stick with me. Come join our free calls. We'll help you organize everything and keep consistent, and we'll have a community. We'll do it all together. Come join for free. Link in the description. Subscribe. Otherwise, peace. See you in the next one.